Welcome to the first installment of the Tiny White Flower program. In fact, everything you need to know will be going into this first week. So, the first thing really is to say, what are we going for? Well, this is not some kind of psychology and it's not a self help program. What we're really going for is the direct experience of our true identity, which is another way of saying that is we're going for emptiness, sunyata, the emptiness of all things. Because that is the true nature of reality and it is who we really are. We are empty, and in that emptiness we are the creators of all worlds. So, if you look up at the sky above me, beyond those clouds is just infinite blue space. See how far you can go into that infinity. Just reach as deeply as you can, deep, deep, deep down into that infinity of that space. Fall into the space. Fall into it as deeply as you can. Just fall into that space. So what we want to do is to be able to live our life always, or as much time as possible, into that space, in that space. And the reason why we want to do that is because that is truth. It is who we really are, and it is ecstatic. You know you're there because nothing has ever felt so good. You're going to feel your heart open. The constriction in your chest just eases and you just feel that same space within you. Because within and outside are both the same really. And you feel it in your groin. It's just the most ecstatic, like an endless orgasm. So that's what this program's all about. So really the first thing and the only thing you really need to do is to reach for that space in all that you do. So what I did is I went for a tramp up on up Foggy Peak, just outside Christchurch, and on the other side of that peak is it's a saddle, just barren rock-strewn saddle on that then connects up to Castle Hill Peak. And I just imagined myself up there, and I sat down. I put one hand face down, touching the earth with my fingertips. I rested the other hand in my lap, and I'm still sitting there. And when I go there and visualize myself there, I'm just still, and my heart, my whole chest is just that empty blue void. So whenever I need to go somewhere, if I'm seeking that void, if I've lost that feeling of the void, that emptiness, then I can always imagine myself back there. And then I can just enter that chest and fall into that chest and reconnect to the truth of who I am. So I suggest that one of the first things you may do is you just think over the next few days of where you want to be. I'm on top of a mountaintop, but that's not for everybody. And place yourself there and adopt that sitting position with the mudra, the hand position of one hand touching the earth, the other hand in your lap, and you just sit there. You just sit there, and you're always there. You're at that still point. So you find your place that works for you. Then the second thing is that in that place, when I tramped, I was always amazed by the tiny white flowers that will grow on top of mountaintops. So small, so fragile. How do they survive the intensity of the sun in summer? How do they survive months underneath snow and ice? How do they do that? So I'm sat there and I'm surrounded by a few of these flowers. So sometimes instead of falling into the space in my heart of the person sitting there. I just enter the space within each of those flowers, because it doesn't matter where you go, everything is empty. So the space within each of those flowers is just the same size as the space anywhere else. So you can even do it with a blade of grass. See the emptiness in this blade of grass. Go into it and see the infinite blue depths within the blade of grass. So that's my second way, my ceremonial way, if you like, of connecting into that emptiness. So I have somewhere to go. And so whenever I start thinking that the physical world is the real world, with all its constraints, there's somewhere I can go. So that's the first thing to do for this week, to find your ceremonial space, somewhere you go, you sit down, and you're always there, and you can always imagine yourself, go back to where you're sitting, imagine yourself there. And the second thing is find some token, flower, a pebble, something. It can be anything, it doesn't matter what it is. It can be a concrete floor if you wish, where you go back to, and that's your way of finding that empty blue space again. So when you go to bed at night, last thing you do, you can just sit, you can just lie there and imagine yourself back in that space. So just get used to being in that infinite blue space, because that's really what the whole program's about. There's nothing else. As soon as you're there, you know you're there, and nothing else matters. And so all the rest of the things we're going to do is just to augment and improve and play with different ways that we can spend our time in that space, until we eventually realise that we are that space, and really nothing else matters but being in that space, because that is the creative source of everything. It's that space that creates worlds, every world, all dimensions. So there you go. There's your first exercise for the week. Enjoy.